The newest batch of Dynasty Startup ADP is live over at Dynasty League Football, so today we're going to comb through the results and take a look at some wide receivers that the market may be a little off on. These are the most under and overrated players at the wide receiver position. Let's start things off here with someone who had a predictably questionable rookie season. Tyquan Thornton has been coming off the board as the wide receiver 81, but nestles slightly higher as DLF's 71st ranked wide receiver. As things typically go in the New England offense, they spent a premium selection, the 50th overall pick, on an offensive weapon just to target him 43 times over 13 games. In their never-ending bid to outsmart the league, the defensive coordinator running the offense accrued the 26th most yards per game and had the 4th lowest drive success rate during the 2022 season. This year, they hired an actual offensive coach, Bill O'Brien, and brought in Juju Smith-Schuster, someone who is likely to artificially lower the value of Tyquan Thornton. Someone who could do some more damage to his 2023 output, Mike Gesicki, who recently signed to the team to replace Jonnu Smith. Gesicki saw 163 targets while lined up in the slot or out wide from 2020 to 2021. This puts a damper on Tyquan's ceiling for the 2023 season. But the Gesicki deal is only a one-year contract, and if it truly hurts the sophomore wide receiver, we still have plenty of time to capitalize on future years at this meager price. Thornton could establish himself as the Patriots' deep threat here in 2023, and even if that means you don't plug him into your starting lineup, it would assuredly mean that his stock rises from where he sits right now. Okay, maybe going with Adam Thielen as an underrated option is a little bit of a cheat code since he signed with Carolina after these mock drafts, but we're still going to go with it. Thielen signed a 3-year, $25 million contract with the Panthers, and both the size and length of the deal are probably more than people figured the 32-year-old would get. But the free agent market for wide receivers was pretty slim, and the Panthers had traded a good amount of draft capital and DJ Moore move up to the number 1 slot this year. Carolina needed a consistent piece of their offense for the future number 1 pick, and they went and got it. Thielen has over 500 catches, 6,600 yards in his 9-year career, and he's found the end zone 55 times. No current member of the roster can even imagine those types of numbers outside veteran quarterback Andy Dalton. How many years Thielen has to offer the Dynasty community can certainly be debated, as he is already 32 years old, but regardless, the days of him coming off the board as the wide receiver 84 are over. At this point in the team building process, there isn't a single option in Carolina that can demand 100 targets. Thielen is not only the best receiving option at the moment, he may be the best piece of their offense. There's a good chance that you can still get him as a consistent producer on your team, and all you have to do is pony up the price of a wide receiver 6. Maybe it's just a 1-year rental for your team, but it still makes him an underrated target. Tim Patrick was already being disrespected in January with his wide receiver 87 ADP. Then he fell all the way to the wide receiver 99 in February, and now he's settled back into the current wide receiver 93 ADP. That's all the way back at the 227th overall pick. Now, there are red flags up and down Tim Patrick's Dynasty profile, and I can't look past him if I'm going to call him underrated. First of all, he's 29 years old. This will be his 6th season, and he's never eclipsed 750 yards. He also tore his ACL, missed the entirety of the 2022 season, and his offense ranked 28th in EPA per play in his absence. But much of his value can be derived from addition by subtraction. The Broncos rumors have been swirling that they are willing to move on from Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, or possibly both. On top of that, often injured speed demon KJ Hamler has recently undergone surgery on a partially torn pec, and the recovery timetable is 4 to 6 months. This further threatens time missed for a player who has only played in 10 games since 2020. There's a chance that Patrick finds himself in a heightened role heading into this upcoming season, and if Russell Wilson returns to form, that could end up being a valuable Dynasty player to have on your roster. A lot of ifs here, but how much is really going to cost you to stash the wide receiver 93 should probably be worth it. Calling the 68th wide receiver off the board an overvalued Dynasty commodity may seem a little aggressive, but the odds that Zay Jones finishes as a top 36 wide receiver ever again seems a little far-fetched. It appears that people are either strongly agree with that sentiment or strongly disagree. Pulling up the DLF Dynasty Trade Finder tool, we see Zay's value all over the board. Just to name a few, we have Zay for the 305, Zay for a 2024 third, and Zay as more or less a throw-in for Corey Davis. We also have Zay Jones for Trey Lance, Zay Jones for Chase Claypool, Zay for Brandon Cooks, and Zay and Najee Harris for Michael Pittman and Calvin Ridley. These are all just from the last few weeks and give an idea of the wide range of value people see in him currently. For me, I'm stoked that Zay Jones had a season like he did in 2022. They're bringing back the whole crew, including tight end Evan Ingram, and adding Calvin Ridley, who could very well become the alpha on this offense. Meanwhile, Zay Jones is heading into his 7th NFL season and had never reached 100 targets in a season prior to last year. Let's wrap up the wide receiver position with someone who deserves no shade, but is still probably going a little too early. Garrett Wilson is presumably set up to operate as Aaron Rodgers' #1 receiving option for 2023. The issue is, Rodgers has a long history of being stubborn with young pass catchers, and we also don't know how many years the quarterback has left in the league. Assuming he clicks instantly with Garrett Wilson, but fades back into the abyss in 2024, then we're left with someone we just selected with the 10th overall pick, who is right back into quarterback purgatory. Wilson was playing with some of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL last season, but among 11 qualifying rookie wide receivers, he finished 4th in yards per route run, 4th in yak per reception, and 7th in yards per reception. He had a great showing, but he was still fantasy's overall wide receiver 19. Wilson more than likely has a very bright future ahead of him, but his current cost is just a little too much.